What if the very thing you've been taught to avoid is exactly what lights up the part of her brain that keeps thinking about you when you're not there? Not being clingy, not being cold, being precisely distant in a way that signals self-mastery, selective attention, and a life already in motion. Stay with me, because in the next minutes I will give you a complete, ethical, science-based framework that explains why women become obsessed with distant men, and more importantly, how to embody calibrated distance without playing childish games or sabotaging real connection. By the end, you'll know how to combine presence with scarcity, warmth with boundaries, and gravity with lightness, so that she chooses to lean in, remembers you when the room goes quiet, and feels a pull that is impossible to ignore. Start by understanding the nervous system, not opinions. Attraction doesn't live in speeches, it lives in signals that speak to reward circuits. One of the most reliable findings in behavioral neuroscience is that uncertainty can intensify dopamine activity through what researchers call reward prediction error. When a reward is fully predictable, the dopamine spike moves to the cue and the reward itself becomes less exciting. When a reward is uncertain, when sometimes it arrives and sometimes it doesn't, the brain learns to pay more attention. That doesn't mean you should be unreliable or flaky. Unreliability kills trust. It means you stop flooding her with constant availability, because constant availability collapses anticipation, and anticipation is what stretches desire through time. Calibrated distance preserves uncertainty in a way that is respectful. She knows you're solid, she just doesn't have you on demand. That difference is everything. Now bring in attachment dynamics, because distance without security creates anxiety without attraction. Attachment research shows that human beings orient toward partners who feel safe and simultaneously stimulating. The paradox is that too much closeness too soon feels like pressure, while too much coldness feels like rejection. The sweet spot is secure distance. You are emotionally clear, grounded, and kind, but you are not living inside your phone waiting to be summoned. You have a mission, a rhythm, a center of gravity. You respond, but you don't perform. You invite, but you don't beg. This signals a secure base. A secure base is what allows the other person to explore, to be curious, and to return with more desire than they left with, because the space between interactions becomes charged instead of empty. Add psychological reactance, the well-studied effect where people push back when they feel their freedom is limited. Neediness restricts freedom. It tries to pull decisions in your favor through pressure, pleading, over-explanation, or continuous attention. Distance, when it comes from self-respect and not from avoidance, does the opposite. It gives freedom. It says, choose or don't choose, my life is moving. That freedom is intoxicating because it removes pressure and hands ownership back to her. Ownership deepens investment. Investment deepens attraction. This is why indifference born of insecurity repels, but indifference born of sovereignty invites. Self-determination theory is just as important. Humans are motivated by autonomy, competence, and relatedness. Distant men often radiate competence and autonomy. That's the magnet. But if relatedness is missing, obsession turns into frustration. Your job is to let relatedness be felt during the moments you are present. Eye contact, calm voice, relaxed humor, genuine curiosity, while letting autonomy be felt in the moments you are absent. Clear priorities, healthy routines, and a life that keeps moving. Presence delivers warmth. Absence preserves respect. The alternation is the rhythm that composes desire. Now the Zeigarnik effect. The mind holds on to unfinished experiences more than completed ones. If every conversation you have is wrapped up with a perfect bow, the file closes in her head. If every conversation dies awkwardly, the file is marked with stress. The art is to end interactions at a subtle peak, while the energy is still bright, leaving a small, open loop. That loop is not manipulation, it's pacing. Finish a call when the laughter is still alive. Leave a meeting after a meaningful moment instead of stretching it into the mundane. The brain tags the interaction as incomplete in a pleasant way, which keeps you active in working memory without you having to force your presence through messages. Think about costly signaling and pre-selection. Costly signals are behaviors that are expensive to fake. They imply underlying quality. A man with strong boundaries, a disciplined schedule, high standards for how he treats himself and others, and a mission that doesn't pause for flattery is giving off costly signals. This isn't about bragging. It's about a life that would be expensive to counterfeit because it is built, not borrowed. Pre-selection works similarly. When your time is already demanded by loyal friends, meaningful work, and self-care, your attention becomes scarce, and scarcity raises perceived value. Distant men who are grounded in service and excellence radiate this without saying a word. The distance isn't a pose. It's a byproduct of a valuable life. Bring in the stoic layer, because distance without philosophy can degrade into avoidance. Stoicism teaches you to separate what you control from what you don't. You don't control whether she texts right now. You do control your conduct, your standards, your priorities, your breath, your presence. Amor fati, love of fate, lets you stop chasing micro outcomes and start cherishing the process. Negative visualization keeps your ego humble. You rehearse losing the outcome and realize you can still hold your center. This makes you emotionally steady, and steadiness is rare in a world of frantic validation. That steadiness reads as distance only to those who confuse chaos with passion. To a woman with discernment, steadiness reads as strength. Let's translate all this into practice, because theory without form becomes noise. Start with availability. Availability has to be less than her expectation but higher than rudeness. That means you reply in windows that align with your actual schedule instead of contorting your day to chase real-time microbursts of validation. If you're working, you're working. If you're training, you're training. If you're resting, you're resting. When you reply, be present. Answer directly, add value, propose the next step when it's relevant, and then exit. Many men try to create distance by being curt, dry, or vague. That is low status. High-status distance feels warm when you're there and calm when you're gone. The contrast is addictive because it gives the nervous system both connection and space. Move to pacing. The most common failure is intensity with no structure. You message all day for 2 days, ignite a spark, and then you either vanish or keep the faucet open until the spark dulls. Replace that with deliberate pacing. Set a rhythm where your conversations have edges. Bring energy, ask a real question, listen to the answer, and then close the loop while the tone is still alive. You can say with ease, "I'm jumping back to what I'm doing. Talk later." That line is not an excuse. It's a boundary delivered with warmth. Over time, this rhythm teaches her nervous system that moments with you are rich, finite, and worth anticipating. Anticipation is where obsession grows. Now, leadership. Distant men who attract well are decisive. Decision-making reduces cognitive load for both people and reads as competence. When you invite her out, offer a clear plan with options that fit her comfort, not 10 options. 2. Thursday or Saturday. Coffee or walk. Quiet spot or live music. Decision with flexibility. If she can feel that you're willing to lead but not to control, she relaxes. And when she relaxes, her curiosity rises. Leadership plus distance signals a man who can both approach and withdraw, who can offer structure and grant freedom. That combination is rare. Add voice. Your voice is a direct pipeline into her body's perception of your nervous system. Fast, breathless speech implies need. Measured cadence implies composure. Lower your shoulders. Breathe through your belly. Speak slightly slower than you think you should. Let silence do some of the talking. Silence is part of distance. Most men fear silence and fill it with fluff. You will let silence extend a heartbeat longer than your comfort because that is where gravity accumulates. Gravity is not loud. Gravity is weight without effort. Next, attention. Distance does not mean distraction. When you are with her, remove the phone. People think distance is created by being unavailable. It is created just as much by being intensely available in the moment and then gone. Flooding her with diluted presence makes you forgettable. Giving her distilled presence followed by clean absence makes you unforgettable. While you're together, look at her eyes when she speaks. Notice the micro expressions. Echo back the core of what you heard without turning it into a lecture, and then pivot to play. Playfulness without performance. You're not interviewing. You're exploring. The quality of your attention creates the charge that makes the next absence feel like a stretch, not a void. Guard your edges. Boundaries are where respect is born. If you sense testing, small pushes on your time, small dismissals of your priorities, you hold frame without drama. Holding frame does not mean lecturing. It means calmly restating your standard and continuing to live it. For example, if late texts start pulling you into midnight chatter when you're waking early to train, you simply stop rewarding that pattern and propose times that honor your rhythm. Consistency is the proof. Distant men who attract ethically don't preach. They repeat calm behavior until the environment adapts or filters itself. Reputation matters more than performance. People become obsessed with what others treat as valuable. Instead of telling her how valuable you are, live in a way that the world reflects it back. Keep commitments, even small ones, because reliability is a quiet form of dominance. Be generous in a targeted way. Support a friend's project. Mentor someone in your field. Show up to help when it costs you, but never in exchange for attention. This makes your distance feel principled, not selfish. Principle is attractive because it's rare. Use environment as leverage. Where you spend time says more about you than anything you say. If your environments are intentional, gyms, libraries, cafes with a creative pulse, nature, places where people build, your body picks up that rhythm. Your speech slows down, your posture improves, your patience lengthens, and your humor gains timing. Humor coming from a composed body lands deeper than humor coming from a nervous body. The more composed your body, the more you can lean on minimalism. Fewer words, shorter texts, longer eye contact, cleaner exits. Now, the ethics. Distance becomes manipulation when you pretend to be busy to provoke chasing. That will poison the well. Real distance is the natural result of priorities that existed before she arrived and will exist if she leaves. You are not staging scarcity. You are living with purpose. You are not withholding affection. You are refusing to trade your center for micro hits of validation. You are not ghosting. You are ending interactions cleanly and beginning them deliberately. When you live this way, you'll attract some people and repel others. That polarity is healthy. Seduction is not about pleasing everyone. It is about resonance with the right person. Let's create a practical operating system you can follow without overthinking. In the first days, keep messaging frequency lower than your instinct and higher than aloofness. That means you answer with full presence within windows that suit your day. When a conversation gets lively, escalate to voice or a simple plan instead of marathon texting. End the call before energy dips. After a great interaction, do not rush to fill the space. Let the glow breathe. If you promise to text later, text later. If you didn't, allow her to step towards you. When making plans, propose something specific with a simple contingency and then disengage from logistics until the day comes. On the day, show up on time, dress with clean lines, smell like subtle intention, move like you meant to be there. While together, keep your phone invisible. Listen, then add a story from ideas, not from gossip. Speak to values and humor, not just to information. When the meeting ends, end it yourself with warmth. As you leave, you're not fleeing. You're setting the next note. The note is not always a date. Sometimes it's space. She needs space to feel the weight of what just happened. Training your nervous system to hold this line is the real work. Do breath work that grounds you. Lift in a way that teaches your body to carry load with quiet. Write at dawn before the noise. Keep a daily promise to yourself that nobody sees, because private discipline radiates public composure. Reduce your consumption of frantic media. Your mind becomes what it bathes in. Speak less words for 1 week and let your eyes say what your mouth usually says. You will notice the world leaning in. That leaning in is feedback that your distance is no longer emptiness. It is now gravity. Handle tests with elegance. If she escalates intensity to see whether you'll fold, double messages, last-minute demands, subtle jabs, do not retaliate or perform indifference. A soft boundary delivered once and then lived is enough. If disrespect appears, end the interaction. Not as punishment, simply as alignment. Ending quickly is a form of distance that protects your future. The wrong entanglement can swallow years. The right standard can save them. Remember that obsession is not your goal. Resonance is. Obsession is a byproduct. When a woman senses that your life would be meaningful with or without her, that your attention is rare and clean, that your presence is playful and grounded, that your standards are consistent and kind, she will often find herself checking her phone for your name, wondering what you're doing, retelling a line you dropped casually, or replaying a moment of silence that held more electricity than 100 compliments. She may not even like that it's happening, and that is exactly why it happens. The body is drawn to centers of gravity, not to noise. Most men will hear these principles and then try to engineer them at the surface. They will time replies, count minutes, and pretend to be busy. That path makes you tight, and tight men feel brittle. You are going to do something simpler and harder. You are going to build a life heavy enough that you cannot be blown sideways by every notification. You are going to train your body so that your presence communicates discipline without a word. You are going to defend your sleep because fatigue makes you clingy. You are going to do meaningful work at a level that impresses you first. You are going to curate your environment towards silence, iron, books, sunlight, and good people. And you are going to treat women not as trophies, not as judges, but as intelligent mirrors who reflect the weight of your reality back to you. Mirrors amplify what's already there. If you are empty, the mirror returns emptiness. If you are full, the mirror glows. There is one more lever you will use that most men ignore: congruent warmth. The colder you act, the more you need to balance with small human signals. A genuine smile, a short check-in that references something meaningful she said, a simple compliment rooted in character rather than decoration. Warmth prevents distance from being misread as disdain. The nervous system opens in warmth and respects distance when warmth has been felt. Give warmth in concentrated doses and then return to your path. She will feel safe, and safety is the soil where curiosity grows. If you find yourself slipping into neediness, pause and recenter with a simple audit. Are you sleeping, training, building, learning, leading? If the answer to any of these is no, you will attempt to extract from her what you abandoned in yourself. Correct that first. The moment you re-enter your structure, the craving to chase fades because you returned to a deeper chase. The hunt for your potential. Women feel that shift instantly. You stop scanning for validation and start radiating direction. Direction is the most attractive fragrance a man can wear. So why do women become obsessed with distant men? Because distance, when it is the shadow cast by purpose, telegraphs value without words. It preserves uncertainty that keeps dopamine interested. It grants freedom that invites ownership. It lets the Zeigarnik effect keep the file open and the mind engaged. It signals autonomy and competence while letting relatedness breathe. It aligns with boundaries, reputation, and costly signaling. It speaks in silence, not in speeches. It can be imitated for a moment but not sustained without substance, which is why women are drawn not to the act, but to the architecture behind the act. Your task from this moment is to stop acting and start architecting. Build the day that would make you proud even if no one ever applauded. Guard your edges, offer warm presence, exit cleanly, lead decisively, refuse to perform. Let silence say what your ego wants to shout. If you do this, you won't need to manufacture distance. Distance will be what naturally forms around a man whose life already has shape. That shape is what she feels when she can't stop thinking about you. That shape is what turns a moment into a memory, and a memory into a magnet. And if this shifted how you see yourself, lock it in now. Breathe low, roll the shoulders back, look the world in the eye, and carry your mission through the door. Everything else follows gravity.